What is happening? Woo! Wow. What's happening, guys? How is everybody doing? Welcome to your Vape at 5. I am your host. I am BlackCat. Today, I have a review, believe it or not. A review. I'm a reviewer now. I don't know if you knew that. I am something I actually know fairly well are RDAs. Kind of. Well, yeah, I guess since I'm a builder, I guess you could say I kind of know RDAs. Today, we are going to take a look at the Ardent RDA by Timesavape and Stan, Mr. TenaciousTxVapes, designed in the United States by Stan. It is a hybrid RDA, which I will show you how that works. And it is meant specifically for the Dreamer, which is Stan's other creation, and by Timesavape. So, first thoughts on this thing. When I got it, I think it is absolutely beautiful. It is an absolutely beautiful RDA. It comes in a bunch of different metal types and colors. Not a bunch of them, but the standard ones, the ones that I really care for. Actually, let me show you what we're looking at as far as the colors and that are available for this RDA. So you have the stainless steel polished. You also have another stainless steel. You have a matted black, copper, and brass. So all the standard MEC colors that you would want for a mechanical device are available. The price on it is $40. I'll get a little bit more into that, and you can pick it up at Stan's website. I don't have it listed below. I'm not allowed to list links, but if somebody could throw it in the chat, I would much appreciate that. So why don't we do this? I'm going to go ahead and, since I always like in the beginning, I always like to do my reviews quickly, get them going, so that people that tune in just for the review can see the review, and then they don't have to sit and listen to me bullshit and everything at the end of it. And that way I give proper attention to the product. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take you down. I'm going to show you the box, show you what's in the box, show you the RDA, give you the specs on it and all the engineering information on it that you need. Then I'll talk a little. Then I'll bring it back up top and talk a little bit about my experience using this device. I've been using it now for about a week. I believe I got it. Did I get it last week or the week before? Dermot Dillon, who is one of my patrons and a guy who is always watching, sent me this so that I could enjoy it. He didn't send me for the purpose of this review, but I really wanted to review it after using it a couple times and giving you some experience. I figured I'd go ahead and review it and let you guys know what I thought. So let me take it down to the desktop here, take it down to the mat, and we'll take a look at the Ardent RDA. Here, and we go to macro. There we go. Almost forgot where I was going. Bring this over just a bit. All right, so I'm trying to put the white background here so it's a little easier to see. All right, here's your packaging for the Ardent. Really fancy kind of design there on the top of it here on the side here. It says Be Tenacious. Gives you his website there where you can purchase it, thetimesvape.com. Top here says Timesavape, engineered for vape. The Dreamer Hybrid, and that is the intention of it. We'll get a little bit more into that here. And designed in the USA by Mr. Stan, Mr. TenaciousTxVapes. Let's take it down here, and I'll show you the specifications on the device. 24 millimeter dripping atomizer. It is not does not come with a squonk pen. It is not intended for squonking. It is intended for dripping. It is intended actually to be on top of a mech, preferably the Dreamer. And I'll show you why. Unique spring-loaded clamping system. I'll show you that. It has a springs on both sides of the screws that hold the clamping system in. It's very unique. It's a little finicky to get used to, but once you're used to it, the intention of it is really great, and I think it gives you really, really good contact. So I'll show you that as well. Smooth honeycomb airflow has 1.75 millimeter holes on either side of the cap, and I will show you that. Deep juice well. Juice well is 9 millimeters deep. Barrel locking system for your airflow. Removable 510 for direct Dreamer hybrid connection. And then what's in the box here? You got a PEI 810 drip tip, a frosted drip tip, extra O-ring, screwdriver, extra post screws, and extra springs. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time looking in the box here, but I'll show you what is in the box and the presentation of the device. So really, really nice presentation there. You got your Ardent RDA. It comes with the Ultim 810 drip tip installed. I changed it over to the frosted drip tip. Then in here is just going to be your guts, an extra screwdriver, some extra O-rings and things like that. A couple things about the packaging of this that I really like is he made it really practical. He put little finger things in here. I always fumble around to get stuff out. So the way that he designed the box, I thought was really creative. Or Timescape designed the box was really great for me. And something I really liked because I can reach in here. It's got these little things in here where you can just push it and pull it up. And there's going to be your O-ring, screwdriver, and all that stuff. Drip tip here. And here is, as we would say, the star of the show, the Ardent RDA. Focus that just a bit. There we go. All right. Also on the box, another thing I thought was really cool. They cut these out on the side here, so you don't have to like sit there and go like this for an hour to get it out, which I always end up doing. So that was very, very nice for me. All right, here's the outside of the RDA. The RDA dimensions are 27 millimeters diameter with the 510 connected here, not in hybrid mode. It's going to be 37 millimeters tall, and that is from the base here, not counting your 510 pin there, up unto the tip. Let's see, what else? 31. If you put it in hybrid mode, it's going to be 31 millimeters tall. So it does drop it down a little bit. It is a tall RDA. With the 510 on it, that's one thing about it that that stood out to me is it is tall. I mean, it's 27 millimeters diameter and fairly tall. On the side here, you got the Timescape logo and then the word Ardent, which Ardent means passionate. So he's staying with that kind of theme, the dreamer, and now Ardent meaning passionate. All right, take it apart here. You can just take it apart, or I could earlier. It's got two O-rings here on the base here that hold it on, but you can pull it apart. If you just grab this part here, it's not that difficult. Cap of the RDA, get a good look of it there. I mentioned before, you got 10 1.5 millimeter holes on either side. It's a lot of airflow. Quite frankly, I could not run it wide open. It was just too much for me. But the great thing about it is that the airflow control, it moves really, really nicely. It's got a really nice fit. The O-rings aren't too tight and aren't too loose, so when you set it, it stays, but it isn't like, you don't have to crank on it to get to that point. And it moves really, really nicely. So what I was basically vaping it at was, I was doing it at 6 holes on either side, and it's just going to mirror. When you turn the cap, it's going to be the exact same on the other side like most RDAs are. Inside here, you can see the inside cap of the RDA. Good machining on it. Didn't see any marks on it. When I got it, I cleaned it as soon as I went back upstairs. I unwicked it and cleaned it again, if you were here for when I wicked it. And I didn't really notice any like discoloration in the water or anything, so there was really nothing on it. Wiped it down. It's stainless steel, and it's that polished stainless steel, so it is a fingernail or a fingerprint magnet. But that's just going to come with the territory here. All stainless steel cap. All stainless steel deck as well, which is really, really nice. Here's the deck of it. Now, a couple things to mention here first off. You got inclined airflow coming in. So it's bottom airflow pushing up into the coil. You're going to set your coils, I'll show you when I install it. You're going to set your coils basically right along the side here with the RDA, and it's going to sit. You don't want them sitting right on top of that airflow, but you want them fairly close to the airflow. Another thing you want to pay attention to, and I'll show you when I wick it, is you want to make sure that you keep your the wick away from the air holes. That's a big no-no, and that will certainly decrease the airflow. One thing about it, I mean, with those big airflow holes coming into it, you got 3 on either side there. This is a Cloud Chaser's RDA. That is for certain. It is not, and you can use it for flavor. I got decent flavor on it, but it is certainly intended for a mech, and it's certainly intended for a hot build and for clouds. I mean, it is clouds all day on this thing. Top here, you got, I'm not a big fan of the flathead screws, but you got flathead screws in there. Very long screws, which allow this interesting clamp system here to come out. On the sides here, you'll notice it's spring loaded. If you can see that right there. There's springs in here that hold this part up when you open it up so you can fit your coils in nicely. You got these little almost triangle type access points here, and what the idea behind that is I think it's twofold. One, When you put your coils in, when you crank it down, it's going to push your leads together on top of each other and give you a really, really nice contact. And I think that was one of the intentions of it. The other intention, I assume, was so that when you put you fit your coils into the triangle holes there, that they don't come out the sides when you crank it down. If you ever used a post system, you start cranking it down and one of your leads pops out the side. Happens a lot with ceramic clamps, but it also happens like in the Goon and places like that and things like that where you have just a regular flat clamp coming down on it. So I think that was the intention. They're a little bulky. And I think that was the intention, was to kind of close it down enough where they closed them together. They're a little bulky though. And when you're installing coils, you know, it does take a little practice to be able to get it on there correctly. I wouldn't say it's a hard deck to build on by any means. You know, it's just a typical, not a typical, but it's just a, you know, a clamp system type deck. I wouldn't say it's hard, but it can be a little frustrating when you're first trying to install on it. I noticed that the day that I was actually using it, I was getting a little frustrated with it, with those clamps and with me having to be able to get it right in the middle there. The other thing is you have to know how far you can move out the clamp system there before the actual screw will come out of the deck or out of the post. You have to be careful with that, because if you don't move it far enough, you're going to have trouble getting them in there. If you move it too far, then these are going to come right off. The springs are going to pop off, and you're going to have to put it all back together, which could be a pain in the butt. But I just want to show you exactly how far up I put mine and how much room I got. So don't be too overly cautious on how far you unscrew those screws. You have a lot of room. And you can see there how much you actually do have. Huge juice well, guys. The juice well is 9 millimeters deep. I haven't had any leaking from it as long as you drip consistently, and I wouldn't even say cautiously. As long as you're moderate about your dripping and not over dripping, you know, incredibly, it's going to be a fairly easy dripper to use, and you're not going to have to worry about a lot of dripping. Does not come with a squonk pin. I mentioned that before when I was showing you the box. You do have a copper 510 pin here going into there. It's insulated there, nice peak insulator there, holding it apart. The deck also, if I were to take this apart, you've got a nice big insulated positive pin there, or positive deck post. Really, really well done, well engineered in that respect. So here's the bottom of the RDA. It says Ardent, Stan, and my serial number, which is 477. Manufactured or designed in the U.S., manufactured by Timesavape in the good old China. So let's go ahead. This device was intended. Now there's something really unique about this device because it is a hybrid. So here's what it basically is. If you were going to use it in its standard mode and put it onto any Mecular or box mod, you would just do it like this, just like a standard 510 pin. The jewel of this is that if you take out this copper 510 pin here, so you just get a screwdriver, take it off, you pull out the copper pin here, you unscrew this cap, set that to the side, and there is your straight hybrid connection onto the Dreamer. Really nice threading, very well machined and heavy. Here's your connector here. What you're going to want to do with that is you're just going to want to go in here. It's reverse threaded, and you're going to want to give it a turn about 1/4 to the right to get it nice and connected in there. So that is how you put it into the hybrid, and you would then again just screw that right onto your Dreamer. So I will show you how to do that. The problem is that I'm going to wick this, so I'm going to actually have to put it back together. Put it back together. I'm going to have to reconstruct it here and put it back together and wick it, because it won't screw down without that little cap on there. So let me move my copper 510 pin. I think it's a really nice touch that he used a copper 510. And I want to show you guys exactly how. Let me move this out of the way now that I've got like up close done. And I'm going to move my camera up a little bit so that I have a little bit more room. There we go. All right, so the coils I'm going to be using, like my new logo there, guys. Got new logo stickers. Very happy with that. Little sticker mule love. These coils I'm using are actually the coils I had already previously installed in it. I just couldn't throw them away. They're absolutely fantastic. These are 27 gauge with a piece of 0.4 in the middle. So 27 gauge framed around a piece of 0.4 square wire in the middle and wrapped in 36 gauge alien wrap. And they are absolute fire. And I could not. This is a new build that I've been testing out and trying out that some of the patrons are going to be getting here very, very soon. So I just left it in there. Go ahead and move that. When you install your coils, like always, you're going to move them as close as you can to the post. Got my first, whoops, I didn't get that side. And if you look here, look how long the leads are. So that tells you how big that post is. Posts are absolutely huge, which is really nice, actually. So let's go ahead and put these back in here. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's get these. Put this here. All right, right up against the post. Now I'm going to grab my other one. Oops, it's going to fall out. So let's just hold this one here with my thumb. Make sure it's in there. Grab my other one. And I'm just going to slide this one in this side. So this is what I was talking about installing. It's not difficult, but it does take a little bit of time to kind of get it right. And I believe I'm in there good. Okay, yep. Now I'm going to go ahead and screw these down. I want them as close to the post as I can get them. All right, that's perfect. So you're going to want to, now when you screw these down, these are going to screw down just like a goon deck would. And if you're familiar with that, you don't screw one side all the way down. You screw one side a little bit, then you go to the other side, screw it down a little bit, and then you go back to the other side, screw it. You're basically keeping them fairly even when you screw them down. And I'm going to show you what the intention of the rails on those posts are to do. What they want to do is they force those two leads right on top of each other, which is really an excellent idea as far as connectivity goes, or contact goes.
This is what a rail hunter gets. Do you see that? Smell it.
Layton,
just take
can
a
you show
smell.
me that? Show her. Put it under here so everybody can see.
Hell yeah. Where's it at?
Right here. That's nice.
That's some fucking deer steak.
Those are deer steaks.
It looks good, don't it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
Too bad you're not eating none.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
They still need it.
You killed that deer, didn't you?
With my dick.
With your dick?
I fucking strangled him with my cock because it was so big.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then he
you actually killed it with a bow, didn't you?
He couldn't breathe no more, so then he
That's
died.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
Shit happens when life's hard.
What's that?
Shit happens when life's hard.
It does happen when life's hard, Layton.
Yeah.
It does, absolutely.
That's probably why he died. But it was for a good cause, because you know why? I'm going to have steaks tonight.
You're going to have steaks tonight?
Yep, that's why he died.
What is your mom going to have? Is your mom going to make those?
No, you guys don't like them, so I'll eat them all myself.
Okay, good. Good.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
I just wanted you to smell
no, and I appreciate you coming down here and interrupting me.
What a real steak smelled like.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, buddy. All right, let's get these screwed back in here. So, wasn't really paying attention to what I was doing here, guys, as you can probably tell. All right, let's get these screwed in here. Did I even get that side in there? No, I got to unscrew them. All right, that's what happens when I don't pay attention to what I'm doing because I have my son standing over me with his deer steaks talking about his cock, which is nice. I'm sure that if Stan watches this review, he'll be like, that was nice, how you guys were talking about cocks and stuff. Yeah, no problem. That's how we do it here. All right, let's get this one back up and get that in there better. Let's see. Oh, that one is in there pretty good. So I think I'm all right. Doesn't look like it, but it is. Okay. I'll just have to... Yeah, I think it's in there fine. All right, let's screw it down. Again. And I will fire it up. I'll show you how it goes in hybrid. Put it on my Dreamer. We'll fire it up. I've already burned these coils in because these coils are actually have been used already, like I mentioned. So I don't have to worry about them being even or not being even. All right. Come on. I hate flathead screws. I just absolutely hate them. They're such a pain in the ass. All right. Right there. Feels pretty good. Scoot them over so they're nice and even. Now, I want to put them down on the deck perfectly aligned with the bottom here. So there we go. And now let's put it into hybrid mode. And then I will put it onto my Dreamer. So I'm just going to unscrew that again. I already had the 510 pin out. And I'm going to take, I got a brand new 30T in here. So I'm going to take this here. Put it right on top, just like that. So take it here. I already twisted that copper piece out a half turn. And let's just fire it one time, see how it looks. There we go, burning nice and even. All right. All right. That one side is kind of messed up. When I uninstalled it and reinstalled it, you'll have that. Oh, shit. Let's get that back in there. And shape it back up. All right. Let's wick it up. So, today, I am going to be using some cotton threads, guys. Which I absolutely love cotton threads. If you guys have not used them, they make life so freaking easy. It is unbelievable. Grab my tweezers and pull them through. This thing is really easy to wick because you have that huge juice well. And all you're basically going to do is cut off these little aglets on the side here and then stuff the cotton down in there nice and easy. But there's really no secret, no trick to wicking this. It wicks super, super easy. Cut these off. Cut the other side off. All right, let's comb it out a bit. Even though you really don't have to with cotton threads, but I like to. Comb that out. I think it's more out of just habit than anything. I always feel like I should comb it out before I use it, even though the cotton is already going one way. That's the one great thing about them. All right, cut this off here. Cut that off here. And we're going to tuck it away. So you can tuck it really easy. If you just use a pair of tweezers, you can pull it right down in there. I just use this little dental tool here. We're just going to roll it right down in there, just like that. Just like that. There we go. Push it down in, push it through. We're going to make sure that we keep this cotton away from the airflow. So push it down in there just like that. I'm going to cut that off. There we go. And now we're ready to juice her up. We'll bring it back up top after I'm done here. We'll talk about it. I'm going to use a little hazy custard from Miss Dawn at Adore. One of my favorites. This was now, when I first started vaping Adore, this is what got me hooked, was her hazy custard. It's one of the best custards I've ever vaped. Now, that juice well is so deep, you really, really don't have to worry about it over dripping it. You can really load it up. So, I mean, you can see how much juice I'm putting on this thing, and it's just, there's plenty of room for it to go. All right. So, you guys want to see how these coils fire up? These things are so, I'm telling you right now, this little gem here that I'm working on, I haven't named them yet, which I'll be doing soon, but they are fire. There you go. Can't even see it because it's too cloudy. That's it on 130T, man. Honestly, it vapes almost as good as if it was on a stack. I say almost as good because it's not quite that strong, but it's pretty damn close. All right, let's go back up top here, and we will talk about the Ardent. All right, so that is a wick. That is the down low. That is what comes in the box. What I also do is when I'm done, so when you're done putting it in hybrid mode, you have your cap from your Dreamer, you have the copper 510 pin, which you don't want to lose, and then you have your little cap that sits on the bottom of the RDA. I put it all right back in the Ardent box. That way, one thing, I know where it's at, and if I want to put it back in, I can get the cap of my Dreamer and put the cap of my Dreamer right back on. It's really nice that you can put it right back in there and not worry about it. Just a little tip there. All right, let's grab the cap here. I'm going to wick it or juice it one more time, and we will take a couple of vapes off of it, and I'll let you know what I think. I just love the juice capacity of this. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Looks like we almost 70 people here. Thank you. All right, we'll take a rip off of it. Now, I'm going to put it, so how this works, top cap here, your air holes, there's 10 air holes I mentioned. I'm going to set it right on top of the airflow, and then screw it down. It will close if you screw it all the way, right? But when you open it, you just move it back as far as you want it opened. That's completely open. I don't know if you can see that. To close it, it stops. So you got an airflow control that actually opens and stops. So you won't go too far on it when you try to close it. Stops there, keeps it from spinning all the way around. Plus it's got really good, like I said before, it's got really good tension on the O-rings. The O-rings aren't bad at all. So let me show you what it looks like fully open. On 30T, I think this build is like, it's like 0.1. Yeah, somewhere around in there. A lot of vapor. Wide open is a ton of airflow, and it really reminds me and takes me back to the time of 27 millimeters, or people were getting 30 millimeter RDAs that were cloud chaser RDAs, and it really takes me back to that when you vape it fully open. That is the experience that you're going to get. The airflow control is really, really nice on it. And it gives you a lot of different options. So obviously you have the 10 open there, but you can change it to 2 open. You can change it to, all 8 open and anything in between there. So what I actually do when I'm vaping it on a 30T, when I'm vaping it on one single 30T, I keep 6 open and it vapes perfect. So 6 open on either side is the perfect amount of airflow for this RDA at that. Now, if you're putting on a stack, you could open up all 10. I think that makes sense. You leave, basically 6 open is half. You can't do 5. You have to do them in groups of 2. So 6 open on this is pretty much how I vape, or how I've been vaping it the last week. Good flavor. Good flavor with that setup, with the 6 open. With it all the way open with 10 open, all 10 open, the flavor on it is decent, not great. But with 6 open, the flavor is good. So, the Ardent RDA. First thing that impressed me about this RDA is how matchy it is with the Dreamer. Look at that. Sits absolutely perfect. I mean, that is what this RDA was engineered for, was the Dreamer. The experience vaping it on the Dreamer, I think, was the intention, obviously, of this RDA. You can use it on anything, really. I mean, anything that can house a 27 millimeter RDA, you can use this. And I think it's a little tall with that part. When you put the cap back on, put the 510 back in, and set it onto a mod, it's a little tall. I mean, it's 37 millimeters tall. To me, it's a little big. So I don't really think that's how I would use it. I think I would use it for its true intention, which is hybrid on the Dreamer RDA. The vape on it, the airflow is honeycomb, which I love. It's also a bottom airflow up onto the coil, which I absolutely love. The flavor on it when you shut down the airflow is great. it is reasonably priced at $40. I think that that's a reasonable price for this RDA. I don't see, just looking at the construction of it and the quality of the machining and everything on it, it's certainly not a $29, $25 RDA by any means. It is certainly another tier above that, putting it into what I would consider like the $40 to even $59, $60 RDA. That's where I put it. And when I originally saw this RDA, I assumed that it was going to be like 65 bucks is where I put it just in my mind price-wise. When I watched Stan's introduction video on it, saw the machining on it and all that, I didn't hear the price, and I assumed it was going to be $55 to $60. So I think the $40 price point, I think, is really, really nice for this RDA. The color options and the metals that match, I think, is a great idea. I like the matted black version. I really, really like the polished stainless steel a lot. You don't lose any connectivity. The hybrid pin in it is all copper, as is the 510 pin, which is really, really, really nice. Helps so much with connectivity and contact and getting a really, really nice vape from it. You don't have very, very little voltage drop that I can tell from using it. I've used my Dreamer with several other RDAs, and I can say for sure, without a doubt in my mind, 100%, that with the Ardent, it is a much more enjoyable vape for me, in that I like a hot vape. I like a lot of, I want it to really punch when I want it to immediately go when I fire it, and I want a lot of punch, and you get it with this RDA on the Dreamer mod. On a scale of poor to excellent, I would rate this as a good RDA for everyday use. But with the caveat, if you're going to use it with the Dreamer, it becomes really a great to almost excellent RDA. I think if you own a Dreamer, you really